Welcome. I love that jacket.
Thank you. I was going to use it this week for filming my profit share online course at Austin, but of course it all got canceled. So I said, I'm just going to wear it today.
Love it.
I'm going to do what Tracy taught us yesterday on the podcast. Get up and get dressed and get after it.
I know. I can't wait for that to come out. Well, everybody has been anxiously awaiting you to be on and share. So thanks for being on. And you got a tactic number 3 that we actually did a live stream about. So I thought it'd be awesome for you to share some of that stuff. So you're going to talk about doing more with less and leverage.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought a lot since you and I did the Connect Live earlier, I guess earlier in the week or last week, whenever we did it. I don't know. Time is just running together.
Yeah.
And so, I really thought about it. What are the things you really want to do more with less? And really it's about time. And right now that's actually being forced upon us as realtors. We tend to think we have to do so many things ourselves. And I love the part about this situation is actually making us have to do things virtually that we should never go back and do it any differently, because this should become our new norm. So I want to talk a little bit about time, how are we going to leverage the time that we have now.
Yep.
And then Eric did a great job about money. I might add a couple of things on money, but he did a fabulous job on money. Have my list already, Eric, to go through and highlight and question and do all those things. And then of course, leverage your people. You want to figure out how to do more with the people you have rather than continually always adding more people to your team. So first thing I want to say is business is open. We need to not assume that everybody out there lost their job, because everybody didn't. And I thought of this the other day when my girlfriend and I were running, of course, 6 feet apart. She said the problem with that is we really can't hear each other. We were going to ask the police officer that went by us, could we do 4 feet so we could hear each other better? But either way, good news is I run faster than her. So now I have an excuse and she can't be mad at me. But anyway, she's buying a car. And if every car salesperson thought right now that nobody wants to buy a car, then they wouldn't even try to sell a car. So it just reminded me that business is open. We need to not assume that every American lost their job, because every American didn't. And I know for a fact that if somebody called me today with a great opportunity in my area where I would typically buy, we just bought one kind of right at the beginning of this crisis. We bought one sight unseen somewhere. So we got to first do that. Business is open. Let's just start with that. And then don't assume everybody's lost their jobs, because they haven't. And then activity breeds activity. And so we got to get busy and just get after the things that we know. I think Eric said it really good when he said, business is built with the lead generation, and then you cut your expenses. And so what I want to say right now is a perfect time to call your database and anybody you know. And we're going to call them care calls, because that's what they are going to be first. But I also want to give you some other reasons to call, because I know sometimes we either feel like we have to give something of value to have a reason to call. So leverage your time right now to make care calls. First thing you call for is, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do to help you? I thought about it this week. I got reached out to by several people. One person thanking me for coming to Indianapolis years ago and inviting him to an opportunity. And I just want to tell you that really warmed my heart, because we all need somebody to be appreciative right now. So call and be appreciative. Ask, how are you doing? How can I help? I've also had people reach out and say, how are you doing? How are you and your family doing? And those calls mean more now than ever. So it's a perfect opportunity. Number one reason is, how are you doing? How can I help you? Number 2, just wanted to let you know that in our state, real estate is considered an essential business. Most people didn't know that, but there are still people who are needing to buy and sell. And I just wanted to make sure you understood and were aware of that, because a lot of people aren't.
I love that, Linda. I haven't heard very many people actually doing care calls to let people know that our business is an essential business.
Absolutely. And then number 3, I want you to know that if you know of anyone who is still in the need to buy or sell, we've got super low interest rates, and I can also even get them a 0-cost loan with a possible $1,000 back. And I know in a time like this, everybody's looking to save money. So that's number 3. And then number 4, any business owners that you have, offer them the shift book or some of the shift tactics that you learn, even if it's just your notes from today. And again, every one of these ideas came from things going on in my life right now. I'm looking for ways to save money. Eric's teaching us how to look for ways to save money. You know, these kind of calls would be appreciated and really unexpected for most people. And then we've had the same business owner call us about 3 times. He's a restaurant owner. He's asking, you know, what do I do with my people? I've got some key people I don't want to let go. And I'm sitting here thinking everything he's asking is spelled out in the shift book. And for those of you, I know we have guests on the call, you could actually order shift books too, and you could give them away to your clients and your customers. I just reached out to my assistant and said, how many shift books do we have at the office? I'm going to need a bunch of them because I'm going to mail them out to people. I'm also going to mail any notes I get from people who talk about what they've done to actually put the shift book into place in their lives. So those are reasons for care calls. And these are great value. So that's what we need to remember is that business is open, activity breeds activity. And here's some great reasons why you should reach out and make care calls and some added value that you can give. On the money, I've just asked my assistant to give me everything that's an automatic draft. I'm starting with automatic drafts first because those are the ones we tend to forget about. And I'm just questioning who knows anything about this on my team, who signed up for it, what do we use it for, do we really need it? And then just asking to question every single dollar that we spend right now. And then on the leverage with people, you know.
Hey, Linda, hold on. You got a question real quick.
Okay.
Before you go on real quick, how far apart should someone make those 3 calls that you spoke about, would you say?
Well, you mean to the same people?
Yeah.
And that's what they're asking?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The reason I say activity breeds activity is I've learned this from 30 plus years in the business. All you got to do is make the call. The opportunity for it to go towards real estate is going to happen after you make the call. So a lot of times we just mentally need a shift of what's the value I'm going to give someone to make a call. Because we have this terrible belief that we're doing something to someone instead of for someone. And so I always have to say, what's some value I can give someone? And so I would say, you know, depending on their interest, you know, I would probably use one of these. First one I would use is, how are you? How are you doing? And then I would just say, I just want to let you know if you know of anyone, maybe about some of the cost savings. And then from that, you're going to gauge who might be more interested. You're not going to get all the way through your database probably before this thing is over anyway. So you're probably going to get one opportunity is what you're going to get. And then based on that conversation, I'd follow up and say, hey, if they got a business or if you know of someone who owns a small business that's hurting right now, I'd love to share with them some shift opportunities. So ask for the referral of someone you can also share it with and then use their name. You know, I might call and say, hey, Dana told me that you own a small boutique in Lexington and you might need some, as a small business owner, might need some help. And I just want to share either a shift book with you or my notes from a shift or whatever. So, you know, the conversations are our only opportunity. We have no, as we said at home today, we have lots of no's. We have all the no's of all the calls we don't make. So I would start the first call. And then from that, I would listen to how interested they are. Do they know someone? Can they give me a referral? Remember, anytime you make calls, you're going to either build the relationship stronger. You're going to get an appointment, which would be the best, obviously, because they say, oh, I didn't realize we could still do that. Or number 3, you're going to get a referral. So either way, I'm going to win in that conversation. So I'm happy with any of those 3.
Yeah, love it. Perfect.
All right. And then with leverage, you know, this is the hardest part to me because the last thing you want to do is let people go. However, some people are having to do that. Just like our restaurant owner that's called us, he's very in so much angst over, should he let people go? Who should he let go? And so I love the fact that the ranking thing that Eric talked about. Here's the thing, in a crisis, I have time to slow down and think about who would I just be devastated if I didn't have right now and who would I not even miss? Because to be honest with you, maybe I have made a hire that I should have been already let go and I've been hesitant to do that. I'm hearing through the grapevine that there's greater kind of benefits for people that are getting laid off now than ever. So if you do have to do that, there is some consolation in the fact that I think they're getting a whole lot more money for that. But I don't know, you're going to have to just evaluate. Yeah. So one of the things I did is I reached out to my assistant and said, send me every project you're working on right now, because I might need to reprioritize her time. You know, something that was important to me 3 weeks ago, because I'm always sending tons of projects for her to be working on. So something I sent her 3 weeks ago may not be something that is a high priority right now. And, you know, the more I listen to, you know, other people on Connect Live and different programs that we have available to us, the more I'm getting ideas. Oh my gosh, I need to find out about this. I haven't thought about asking, what are you doing here? So some of them, I didn't even have a clue what they did in a day. You know, I noticed the other day when we were at a market center, people were asking, what does our front desk person even do? You know, so this is a great opportunity to say, help me understand. Honestly, I need to reprioritize. So what are what is your job description? What are you doing? And then let's go back, and you and I together, let's move some things to the top and move some things way down to the bottom.
That's such a great idea.
Because I think we sometimes don't even, I go so fast that I just trust I have great people and they're going to stay busy and they're going to do the right things. But 99% of the time, the stuff that's not getting done is my lack of communication. So I have the time now to communicate. So I have a list of 2 things in front of me. One, all my expenses, especially my automatic drafts. That's what I'm going through first. Second is my list of my assistants' job descriptions. I mean, what is she working on right now? What are the priorities? And I might move some to the bottom and move some to the top and think of new things that she's never had to do before that now I need her to step up and do. So I really think we have to evaluate. And, you know, again, you've got to evaluate how desperate is your situation. And if it's bad enough, you may have no choice but to let some people go that maybe you either made a bad hire or you just can't justify. But the other thing I would do, Dana, that I think people tend to do is you tend to take all your issues and go inside. And right now there's more great information with other people. So don't go inside, go outside, call another person who has help. Just like our restaurant owner is calling us, he's talking through. And as he talks through with Jim about some of this stuff, I'm sure he's having ahas and thinking about it in a way that he's never thought about. So leverage the minds of other people. Leverage the minds of other people. Now, the other thing I want to hit is I did a talk on Connect Live earlier this week on how to bulletproof your transaction. And that's another thing people are having.
By the way. Yeah.
Well, other people are having to do that right now. So what you need to do is, number one, lead with your heart. You know, Brad said the other day on my team that he had an 80-year-old woman in a house and the seller wants to pull his house off the market. You cannot outscript that. You should not outscript that. You should say, you know what, I totally understand. And absolutely, let's pull it off. Let's delay it, whatever we need to do. And then there are other people who are listening to the fears of other people. They're listening to financial planners who the sky is falling for with the stock market, or has been. It's getting better now. So they're listening to people who are coming from their fears. So asking great questions about what about your situation has changed? How will you feel if you lose this house?
Yeah.
You know, if you were quarantined, would you rather be in this house or the house you're in? You know, whatever. So I'm saying just ask great questions to make people, because remember, people make decisions on emotion and they justify with their logic. And so sometimes their emotion is running wild based on other people's fears. So
okay, wait, say that again. People make
decisions with emotion and justify with logic. So remember, our role as realtors has always been and will never change, and more so now, lead people, move people from emotion to logic when you can. Lead with your heart. If it's a situation, they lost their job, there's nothing we can do. If it's maybe recruit them into real estate, you know, maybe real estate would be a good time for them to look at real estate. Or the other thing is, lead with your heart, be compassionate about the things that can't change. And then the ones that are just leading from fear, from either their fear or other people's fear, ask great questions. And at the end of the day, if people know and trust that at the end of the day, you're going to help them make the best decision for them, they'll be more open to this. If they think you're only concerned about your commission, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Now more than ever. So I would say, you know, just find the opportunities. There's opportunities here right now. I promise you. I call every day people on the ground by doing real estate deals because I need to stay intact. And what I'm finding is they're still doing deals. We may be in trouble 60 to 90 days from now, but there are going to be a certain number of deals done, and it's going to depend on how actively you continue to lead generate and look for opportunities and for people like my friend who's buying a car right now when no one thinks anyone would be buying a car right now. So remember, people are still buying, they're still selling. You just got to find them, and you got to make those calls to find them.
Yeah. Okay. Couple quick questions. Would you leave a message to the people and give info, or just try and call back?
I would try and call back, and I might text if I have their phone numbers. Another great thing to spend your time with right now is getting your command for those who are with KW, and for those that are not with KW, whatever software you use for keeping your database. But now's the time to go realize how little information you actually have on people. And so I would go to a text if I couldn't get them to answer, and just say, hey, had some quick information about the real estate market that I thought you might need, that you might want to know locally or whatever, something that's going to trigger, I need to know, I'm not one for voicemails. So I would keep trying till I got people. And then as a last resort, I'd probably leave a voicemail at the very end if I've just called and called and called. But more than likely, you've got their cell or you've got an email. I'd shoot them a text to see if I could get them to call me back first.
Yeah, great answer. Okay, and then for those people who may already be slowing down a little bit, what would you say leverage with their time? What are like 2 or 3 things that you're dedicated to learning right now that you think other people should be?
Well, I think, I've gone through, I got up this morning at 5 this morning and I started watching some Connect Live classes on cutting expenses and seeing if there's an idea that I've missed or haven't thought about. And the other thing is, one of the ideas I got from one of the lives I listened to this morning was a book called, what was it called? It's in there beside my bed now. I'll find out later and put it on the chat, Dana, but it's more about relationship. I'm going back to relationship selling and ideas, because in times like these and all times, relationship selling is what's going to be best. So I'm going to go back and remind me to people do want to hear from me. They do appreciate a call. They do appreciate you reaching out, not like I feel like, and they've got time on their hands. They're answering the phone more now than ever. So now is the time for us to be making those calls. So get to making the calls, get to updating your database so that your information is correct. And then read and listen to positive motivation. Don't watch the news all day long. Listen to it once, get the scoop, and then keep moving. Find the hope, because as leaders, our job is to lead people towards the hope of what can be done, not what can't be done.
Yep, perfect. Okay, anything else that you would add or talk about on leverage in the last 2 minutes? And let me just scroll through the questions while you're doing that really quick.
I would, now I would do some things that I haven't had time to do. I'd put Facebook groups together to share great ideas or information that people need. So, a lot of people on this call probably have been meaning to do that and want to do that. So think about what would be a value that you would enjoy keeping people in the loop and in the know on, and then maybe start a small Facebook group and see what kind of connections you can make on social media.
And Linda, we've got Nikki Klein coming on tomorrow at 11:40 Eastern time to specifically talk about that. So that'll be a good one.
Yes, that's a great one. Be sure and listen. Don't miss that one, because she's great on Facebook groups. 35% of her business is from Facebook groups. And so absolutely, if that's something you've been wanting to learn to do, use the time right now to say, what do I want to, when this is over, come out having a skill or knowledge that I didn't have going into this.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Let's see. Any more questions? Oh, okay, hold on. Missy Bricking has a question. I'm going to allow her to just talk and ask. Hold on. Missy, can you hear us? Or can we hear you? I guess would be the better question. What about now?
I can hear you.
There you go. Hey, did you have a question?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I feel bad that I'm not prepared for one.
That's okay. It said raised hand. No problem.
Actually, let me go ahead and ask one.
Okay.
Why Linda was talking about kind of, looking at expenses, in this time, while we're looking at expenses and looking at our team, how do we keep the team, motivated, kind of knowing that in the back of their minds, I think some of them are worried, like, well, who's going to be cut, because, I'm open and honest, my team's on this call, and I don't want to obviously let anybody go, but how do you keep people in the game and positive and excited about what we're doing to make a difference in this shifting market, while in the background, they're kind of wondering at what point, could Missy let me go, because she needs to make the right decisions for her business moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yes. And that's a great question. And here's what I believe. I believe your most valuable employees are not asking that question, because I know there's some employees on my team that they know there's no way I can function without them. And it's up to them to bring the value that can't be cut. And, you know, I know that may be kind of hard, but that's the truth. To me, if they're sitting home worried about their job, they don't believe they're bringing enough value, or they're not sitting around helping you come up with solutions to this situation. I'm really watching. I'm seeing who on my team is proactive and who on my team is just hiding behind the opportunity to get to go home and whatever. And so I think it's their responsibility to help you think of ideas and say, you know, here's what I was thinking of we could do, or where are some calls I can make, or, you know, here's what I heard on a Connect Live. Are we doing this? And can I be the one to step up and do it? I really think that's where it has to come to. And at the end of the day, anybody that's valuable to you, there's no way you're going to be able to let them go. And so they need to understand that too, that no one who brings value to the team and helps come up with solutions, they're going to be the last people that you want to let go.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Great question, Missy. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I know we're 2 minutes past, Linda, but I keep getting all these questions. So last question. Someone who just got back into the business after being out of real estate for 10 years, what advice would you give them on how to get started in the times that we're in right now?
You know what? Same as I tell everybody else, nothing's different. The beautiful thing about you getting back in, or everybody I've ever known, myself included, who got in a downturn have the best businesses no matter what happens. So I'm going to say good for you. Great time to get in the real estate business, because if you were in, 5 years or the last 7 years, you think the sky's falling and you don't understand what to do. If you've been through shifts before, or you get in a shift, you just go do whatever you have to do to go get business. And so the race is on, not face to face, because we can't do that, but voice to voice.
Screen to screen.
Yeah. Who can I call? Who can I do a Zoom with? You could get a group of business owners together and do a Zoom with them and go through the shift. There's so much value. Remember, life gives to the giver, takes from the taker. And I got that from Joe Polish. And that's so true right now. What value can I bring to the world and to people who are hurting? And then that will eventually bring me something. I don't know what, but it'll eventually bring something. But just treat it like you just got in and you have to build a business, because that's what you have to do. It's no different.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So Blair or Shannon, whoever did that, thank you so much. So for those of you that have not subscribed, Linda and I have a podcast and we could sit here and talk all day. So yes. if you have more questions, there's a link in the chat that you can go and subscribe to our podcast, which is called Everything Life in Real Estate. And we truly talk about everything life in real estate. And then also, if you have more questions that you would like for Linda and I to answer, you can send those questions to info@everythinglifeandrealestate.com. And we can answer them on the podcast as well. So Linda, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you for doing this, Dana. I appreciate it.